broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
We have a breakup song tonight. I think it's perfect because this was obviously an episode that had a lot of breakups involved in it. I loved this episode tonight. That was great. And I really wanted to know a lot more about the Rihanna and the Sandra Bullock, so we got into that. But anyway, I'm Ashley Daniels here with my awesome co-hosts again, minus the amazing Dario, who we very much miss. But it's like a girl talk little panel over here.
I love girl talk. Hi, I'm Roxy Striar. Happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Cathy Kelley. Also happy to talk about breakups.
We love talking about all these things. See, I really one of my secret loves is I love TMZ, and I DVR it every day. I don't care. I love it. I've always been. I mean, as much as I love other things, and I like good TV, I admit it. I love this stuff. So I kind of already knew a lot of it, which was a little bit embarrassing, but
I feel like that's honestly most of the segments on the show you know a lot about. That's just the nature
what we're
of the
interested
series.
in.
Yeah. But it's cool because all the topics you want to talk about.
Right. Especially things that are going on. I can't believe how quickly they turned this episode around for when, we're in November and they're talking about October with Honey Boo Boo's mom, Mama June, getting back with the guy. Think about how many hours went into filming and everything. It must have been only a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. It was. They're still talking about it, even on TMZ. And Dr. Phil just had an interview with Mama June about the entire situation, and it was really disturbing. You guys should definitely look at that if you are watching any of this, just to see how she's reacting as of right now to the situation with her daughter.
So what is going on right now?
Basically, she's denying it, and she's just acting like it didn't happen, and
she's denying that her daughter was ever molested by her boyfriend.
The interview basically was that she's saying, well, that's what she says happened. My daughter says that happened, but I don't really know for sure. I think the pictures she's just, everything's like a denial. She really doesn't even answer any of the questions. And at the end of the day, if she believed her daughter, or if she was admitting to believe her daughter, then she wouldn't be with this man right now as of today.
Yeah, why would an 8-year-old make that up?
Yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense to me. And I mean, I didn't know anything about this story before watching Untold tonight, admittedly. I don't watch Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, but you got enough of a sense of what's going on from the show tonight, and that's just that's absolutely absurd to me that her mother would react in that way.
Right. I completely agree with you, and I didn't know much about this story, and I've never met Anna before, but from what we saw of her tonight on the show, she just seemed like a really good girl with a good head on her shoulder, and
what would be her motivation behind making something like that up? It makes zero sense, especially from it happening so young.
Right. And I think that she has to be protective, as the fact that there are other small women in the house, small little girls in the house.
Yeah.
If her mom was to get back with, what was his name, Mark? Mm-hmm. If her mom was to get back with Mark, then it would be unbelievably irresponsible, not only because it's a bad parenting play, but also because Mark could take advantage of Honey Boo Boo or any of these girls that are still in the house.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's one of those things where, I don't know, I just feel like there was no reason why she would make that up. Then what motivation, why would she bring that to light now? That's, honestly, it's probably embarrassing for her. She doesn't want to share that story with all of America. And why would she want to do that? And, props to her for voicing and getting it out there.
It's not even she came out to her teacher and was like, this happened last night. This is something that seemed to be a reoccurring event that happened every day, every time they were in the car. All this, how can you say to your kid, not only do I not believe a day of your life, but I don't believe your entire life.
I don't
pretty
know,
much what you're saying.
Right, and I don't know like what she said on, like, I watched the TMZ version of what happened on the interview with Dr. Phil, but basically she's forgiving this man and she's been with a child molester. I guess don't hold me to this, but I believe we saw it tonight too, that her previous boyfriend or whatever also had an instance where there was some type of child molestation or something.
No, it wasn't child molestation. She said that both the exes had gone to prison, one for handguns and the other for sexual exploitation of a child.
Yes, right. So I just think at the end of the day, if your daughter tells you this, and it's so disturbing, the things that she said, and then you can go be with this man after he gets out of jail. It's just, to me, it's I can't even wrap my head around it, and I can't even imagine what that daughter feels like. But you're basically saying to your daughter, it doesn't matter to me. I don't believe you, or I do believe you, but I could care less.
When you become a mother, you put your children before yourself, and that's not what she's doing in this situation whatsoever.
I don't know what, Ash, you just made a good point, because I don't know what's worse. If she does believe her and she's doing this, or if she doesn't believe her and she's doing this. Like, which one of those things is worse?
Yeah.
Right.
They're both awful.
Yeah, she's obviously just, not to say that if you're very young and you have a kid that you can't end up being a very good mom, but we do know that she was 14 when she had her. So Mama June was 14 when she had Anna. So it makes me think, maybe there was a lot of situations that went on that she was just growing up as she was having a child herself, but it still can't.
Where she's almost stunted in her own emotional.
Yeah.
Is any part of this about the fame, you think? Because obviously if Mama June came out and said, oh, I believe my daughter, the story would have folded. But the fact that she's saying, I don't believe her, it's keeping the story going.
Right. I don't know what, as of right this second, how their relationship is. I actually really want to see the entire interview with Dr. Phil, because he's going to put her right in place. Like, I know that's what I heard, that he put her right in her place, and he said, like, you need to be a mother right now and be there for her.
Well, the fact that, she denied all of this, that's, I think, what led to TLC canceling the series, even though they had already filmed, the 5th season. So it's not beneficial to her in any means. I think that's why she potentially or allegedly got back together with Sugar Bear, I think was his
because
name.
she knew she looked like
because
crap.
She knew that's a PR move. Like, you go back to the person who the fans liked you with, and it dispels rumors of, whatever negative thing you did.
What do you guys think about the fact that they canceled the show? Do you think that is justified?
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to. It's just, it's morally, you cannot have a network that is, there's a lot of shows that are about families, and there are a lot of shows, it's just that in general, that's just standing up for something that's so terrible by making money off of these people where someone's suffering and has suffered so much. So,
and I'm sure a lot of advertisers pulled out after that story came out. So TLC probably had to pull the plug on it just to save their own butts.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
They were making, the ratings were so high, and as I think they said 2 million views per episode.
Speaking of which, what about the $30,000?
The trust fund. I was just thinking about that. One, that seems really low for
5
having
seasons.
multiple seasons of a hit reality show. That seems extremely low. But then also, where did that money go?
Right.
There's $17 now. Did her mom have access to it? Like, what on earth could have happened? And then that one part about her mom giving her $400 a week, was the mom saying that was from her trust fund?
They didn't specify on that, but she was basically coming back and saying, well, I give her $400 a month. It was a month to live.
A month?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's shocking, but I couldn't believe it. So I think what she was trying to say was, well, I give her for $400 a month. Whether you do or you don't, that doesn't, so you took her $30,000, you spent it, or you put it somewhere else, and now you're giving her $400 a month. She should have access to that. She's old enough, she has a child. This is not like Little Honey Boo Boo where you have to hold the money for her.
She's married with a kid.
Granted, I would say, that number sounds very low for how much money they're probably making off of this show, but places other than LA, you can live, an apartment could technically cost, $200-$300 a month if you have a 1-bedroom. It just depends on where you live.
Absolutely.
So that
Good luck living in LA.
Yeah.
I did find the TMZ article. She does, and Mama June did say, she goes, I guess she trashed her own daughter, who was forced to perform, she's forced to perform oral sex on the boyfriend, saying Anna tends to lie. And that to me, I mean, how can you, your daughter, maybe she tends to lie on, like, I didn't eat my dinner, or I went out too late. How can you ever justify that she lies? And so that means that this is a lie. It's just, it's such a cop-out. It's just, you got to be a mother. You have to take a stand.
Step up.
And
I understand that maybe you had feelings for this guy, but like, all right, that's over with now because he molested your daughter.
Should be your closure for him. Like
if that's
the
not
first
a breaking
time it
point,
happened, the door should have been closed.
Yeah.
I've seen so many Lifetime movies like that, though. So.
And what was she doing as a mom in general in other ways that made Anna so uncomfortable that she told a teacher instead of telling her mother?
Well, she loved her mom, and when you're a kid, you can't figure out. You don't know at the time. You can't say, okay, this was sex that just happened. This was this that you just. You're a kid. You're so innocent, and then there's an adult figure telling you to do these things, and she says she didn't say it because she loved her mother, but I also think it was because she was so afraid of what he would do to her.
Yeah. She said in the episode, she's like, I didn't even know what was going on. Honestly, she's like, I didn't like it. I would cry myself to sleep at night. I didn't know what was going on, though.
How can you figure that out in your head as a 7-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So disturbing. It really, it's really hard to talk about.
I know.
But you know, I'm glad that if anything, she got to say what has happened to her, and she got to expose this man. I mean, I know Facebook kicked him off as of a few days ago. They won't even allow him to have an account. So he's not going to live a normal life. Once you do that,
that's the smallest thing that could have happened.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, like, he's right now, you know, this is times 10 now that he's going to get people that know exactly who he is
think
and
about
what he's done.
She said. She said, I hope that something happened to him in prison. I hope that he dropped the soap. I couldn't believe they aired that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you don't have those feelings about somebody that you're lying about.
Mm-hmm. Of course not. No, I mean, and
I'm glad she's coming forward with it, because the only way to, you never forget, but the only way to move on with your life is to be open about what's happened to you. And now the world knows, and she's not in the closet anymore. It's not a secret.
Of course, another issue is having her daughter, Honey Boo Boo, around him, because Honey Boo Boo's around this man.
Right, that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah. Very scary.
It's really scary. I mean, not just Honey Boo Boo, but other kids.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it's this family or another.
Right.
Scary.
Yeah.
Well, so we had that, and that was the first part of the Untold episode. And then we get into, unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about with that, but the next part was this From Scandal to Now, which was basically about breakups and how they can affect people who are famous and people who are not famous, but in some regard, they kind of became famous from these breakups. So we get into first with Rihanna and Sandra Bullock and how these breakups, and obviously with Rihanna having been beaten up after that.
Image it's haunting. Never weakens for me. The picture of her face after Chris Brown, I mean, that's not like, all right, he pushed her. That's like he wailed on her. So to not only have that be in the media forever, you know, anytime she's Googled anything, but also to be dealing with the fact that she's heartbroken. Like, I just can't even imagine. I can't imagine. And she's got that whole image, you know, her Insta is like Bad Girl Ree or whatever. She's supposed to be the baddest, most amazing, all these things, but how do you keep up that image when you are completely broken inside?
Right.
That was so sad to watch.
Did you feel like it hurt or helped her career, in a sense that she's now seen as, you know, somebody that people can relate to her, people who have had the same issues, like she's maybe it just opened up another door.
It's hard because, I mean, one, it does kind of, I think, help other women who have gone through it, but it's also made her a target for a lot of jokes, which is unfortunate. Like, there are so many people, especially on the internet, which sucks, that, you know, have made her this joke, which is not, I mean, like, you're joking about a girl who was brutally beaten by her boyfriend. That's not okay.
The thing that's hard, though, is people started telling jokes more when she got back with him. And because they were like, oh, well, if she's accepting of what he is, then we can make fun of her. And I don't think that that's appropriate. I mean, I know it's not appropriate.
It's never appropriate.
Right.
Regardless of her decision, that's her decision. It's something that we as fans of hers, I feel fans sometimes think that they know the person and thus can joke about it or have their own opinions when in reality that's not true.
Right.
Right. Although it is hard as a fan to look at her and support that decision. That is difficult, and I understand that. But that manifesting into jokes baffles me. Like, people reaching out to her being like, we want to make sure you're okay. Like, please take care of yourself. Showing love, completely legitimate. But thinking you know better than she does, or you know what's right for her.
Or that it's easy to make that decision because it's not. You don't know her relationship. Honestly, they are the only two that will ever know what happened.
That Oprah interview really touched me, and she's crying, and you're just sitting there thinking like, wow, I don't know. What the hell do I know?
Right.
I don't know anything about her life.
I think it's tough too because he's famous and she's famous, and also she's still. You can never get over something like that, regardless. If you say you do, you can't. There's just no way. And you see him out and about. You know, he's obviously had a lot of other problems after that, and you can never really. I feel like you could never really fully move on. Always seeing him in the media, like it's not like a guy that you can just dump and then never see him again. Yeah. It's like he's always around. And I mean, he's Chris Brown.
I mean, that's celebrity breakups. Like, you potentially have to work with the person again. You have to see them at award shows. You have to see them. Like, you have to see them.
But imagine, you know, when you date people and you decide that you're going to introduce them to your friends and family, how much you want your friends and family to like them, how much that matters. Now, imagine not just having to introduce your boyfriend to your friends and family, but to your entire fan network. Like, everyone hates him.
Has an opinion.
He's with Carucci as of right now, and he just got her a house and a beautiful car, and you know, it seems like he's really trying, and I know that. I mean, everybody deserves a second chance, but when it comes to something like this, as the new girlfriend, I can't imagine not being hesitant and not being worried that could happen again. You know?
Yeah, I am a believer that people can change. I happen to be one of those, but. It's scary. It's a scary thought. I mean, she was brutally beaten. Her entire face was, like, unrecognizable.
Right. It's interesting that they had somebody like Sheena Marie, which, you know, we'll get into, but became famous from a situation that was... It was an unfortunate situation where she claims that she didn't know that the man she was seeing was married with kids, but...
There's a thing called Google.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make sense to me, but
Twitter,
to put them in the same
Instagram,
thing...
Facebook.
I think it was prior to a lot of those social media networks, but it's... I mean, unless it's like you meet the person that night and you hook up with them or whatever it is...
6 months.
Every person like looks up someone on the internet nowadays before they go on a date with them. That's just what happens.
So I don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't buy it
6
either.
months, man. Like,
especially this industry too. Like, everyone knows each other. So if you say, "Hey, I'm going on a date with this guy named Eddie," like, "Oh, Eddie who?" It's like, "Oh, he's married." Actually, like, everyone knows everyone. There's a way that you would have known he was married.
I agree. And like you're saying, Cathy, one night, okay, I'll give it to you that you didn't know. Maybe a week. 6 months, honey, you know, that makes you look worse than if you did know, claiming that you didn't, because it makes you look stupid.
But here we have a situation where with Sheena and also with Haley and also with Ali Fedotowsky, is that how you say it?
Ali Fedotowsky.
But those three people were unknown, and then because of a breakup or because of a situation with somebody else, they became famous. It's not the same exact situation.
Ali Fedotowsky was different because she was on The Bachelorette,
right.
So she was famous, and then she picked the guy.
But I didn't really feel like she was famous before she did The Bachelorette, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying because of a relationship or because of a significant other, there's the reason that they became famous. Yeah. It's just interesting to see that this whole situation with dating people and whatever the case may be, you become famous from that. It's just interesting to see that.
I have a really hard time feeling bad for the other woman. You know what I mean? Like, some of these women are the mistress, and they're like, woe is me, and I'm like...
No.
Yeah.
No.
I have a really hard time feeling bad for them. So, you know, somebody like Sandra Bullock, my heart goes out to her. And my heart broke for her, and hearing that story, it's just like... that is humiliating, and it shouldn't be because she didn't do anything, but like that is so sad. But do I feel bad that then Eddie went and slept with Leanne Rimes and she felt like she was being cheated on by, like, no, honey, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm a pretty sympathetic person, and I have no sympathy for that.
Well, I think it is with Sandra too. It's that she actually is not she doesn't call the paparazzi on herself. She is a very private person. She does her work. She does a great job at it, and she's famous because of that. But she's not famous because she wants to be famous. It just happened because she's talented. So for her, this was just. It is just even more sad to see somebody like that trying to have privacy and just you can't have it, and it's just coming at you even more because of your situation.
Props to Maria for being such an amazing interviewer because she stays unbiased in these situations. And if I was talking to somebody who was telling me that they didn't know for 6 months, I'd be like, honey.
You'd be the Wendy Williams. You'd be like, no, girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And Maria just sits there and she really, I don't feel like she judges. I just feel like she listens and is trying to tell the untold stories, which is amazing. I wouldn't be able to do that. How do you keep your 2 cents out?
That's why she's Maria Menounos.
Because, I mean, these people want to tell their side of the story. And whether it's exactly what happened or not, that's, there are people who want to hear their side of the story too. So I think that's cool.
But it's also making a bad situation into something prosperous. I mean, with Sheena, there's a really, really terrible thing that was done. Whether she knew about it or not, it's still terrible. That was a family that was broken up. And now you're on a show where now you're an actress apparently and
doing
singer.
The time, but I didn't do the crime.
That was so bizarre.
I mean, it's just very strange
these
to me.
people who, they know they're the mistress, like you would get just as pissed off down the line if your significant other cheated on you.
Yeah, of course. She's like, I don't understand why everybody hates me. Ooh, baby girl.
Yeah.
Cheating's never okay in my mind. Like, that's probably the most selfish thing that you can do in a relationship or to a person.
I'm such a fan of breaking up with somebody if you don't like them.
Exactly.
It's just like, you don't like me? That's okay. Don't cheat on me. Just break up with me. Like, I'll deal with that. I don't know. So when I look at these people, and to me, part of the untold story tonight was I wanted to hear some of these guys talk. Like, I wanted to hear these men try to, because they all seem to be able to justify what they did, except for Sandra Bullock's guy, who really was like, I blew it. And that's all he kind of said.
Right.
I mean, a lot of these guys are like, I'm young. I'm in Hollywood. Like,
well, what about Haley, the publicist? I mean, that we all were like, this was a situation where she was the person that was with John Gosselin when everything went down and he divorced his wife, and he claims, he was with her after they divorced. But still, there's a situation where there's a woman that I've never seen her in my life. I've never even heard of her.
Oh, I remember when that situation was going down.
Well, you probably watched it then. But for me, it's like, now we're seeing her talk about, like, she's a publicist now, and she turned it into a better situation, obviously. So you can do that. I mean, I think Allie did that too. With obviously she wasn't picked for with The Bachelor, but she still was able to. I mean, she's on E now. She's doing really well for herself. So you can make it.
Yeah, take lemons and make lemonade for sure. I mean, what else are these women going to do at this point?
I mean, that's one of those things. I watch a lot of Scandal, and last week they were talking about how if you come forward as a mistress or you are ever revealed as that is the only thing you will ever be. Regardless of this girl's story from John and Kate, where she claims that they were together after Kate and him were separated. It started as a friendship and then developed into something more, but the fans weren't aware that they had separated, so she was pegged as a mistress. If that's actually what happened, then I feel bad for her. And she did make the best situation out of it. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I agree, yeah.
And I just try to picture, though, imagine these women going in for, like, their deepest, darkest secrets are known by the entire world. Imagine them going in for a job interview at Abercrombie. Like, you know what I mean? They can't get a normal job anymore, so that's why they try to make the most of the reality world and all these things, because what are they going to do? Go get a job corporate at E? Like, no. You blew it, so now you need to make the best of what you've done.
They have a lot of fans, some of them, though.
I feel like there's also a huge double standard with cheating. Like, when a girl gets cheated on, I feel like a lot of, whether it's in the public eye or not, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, well, there must be something wrong with her. And then when a guy gets cheated on, it's like, oh, there must be something wrong with her. And they feel bad for the guy. Like, it's such a weird double standard.
It happened. Did you guys see Gone Girl this year?
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
So in Gone Girl,
love it.
Wait.
You'll love it.
no, I won't.
Okay.
I won't spoil anything for you. But in Gone Girl, I thought they did a really good job depicting the way that like some people are just not as great of people, you know, and to be open about who you are and admit what kind of person you are. And I feel like a lot of cheaters, and we saw this tonight, they don't take ownership. A lot of mistresses, they don't take ownership. Like if somebody was going to sit there and tell me, listen, I knew that he was married, I cared more about myself than I cared about the wife. I did this and I was having fun and that's all I cared about and that's who I am, and I understand that maybe that doesn't make me the best person, but that's how I live my life. That's something that even though I don't respect what they did, I can see them as a person and be like, okay.
But they're selfish people. That's why they're going to say, oh, well, I did it because
Yeah, they're like
other reasons.
I didn't know. It's like just whatever you do
it.
in life, own it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you do, because you did it. Like,
And then you look at like someone like with Sheena's situation, and you look at Eddie has his own show, or he had it with Leanne, and Brandy obviously is on her another season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So they both, you know, are on a show. Sheena's on a show. It's just crazy. And
They became more famous because of the situation.
of course, it's amazing though. You would think like, at least as the man, you would just pull back from all of that and just be like, listen, like, I am so sorry that I don't even want this. Like, it just would show that, like, you actually care more about the situation rather than just going on another reality show.
Oh,
it's terrible.
Most people in Hollywood care more about publicity, whether it's good publicity or bad
Terrible.
publicity.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just, I mean, I think, honestly, that's why the divorce rate and cheating is higher in Hollywood, not just because you have so many more people that I think would want to date you if you're famous, but I mean, it's because like the publicity of everything, like you want to continue, like it's, if you break up, you make headlines. If you get together, you make headlines. Like,
right. I also find that these people are always putting on a different face. Actors, even hosts, singers, you're always having to put on a different face. Sometimes that face is attracted to one person, and then a different face is attracted to another person. Like you're working with all these people, so it is a crazy industry, and but I just think that staying loyal to somebody isn't difficult, and it's not too
No.
much to ask. And we see that it happens time and time again, and people almost like these stories. I'm glad that they're getting told now because they don't go told, and they do go untold, and it's like, this is such crap that women are getting treated like this. It's ridiculous.
I always talk to my friends about Hollywood relationships and kind of equate it to high school. Like it's kind of like high school on steroids, where in high school I feel like if two people started dating, everyone knew about it. And it could be like the two popular kids or whoever it was, and everyone knew about it. And then when they had a breakup, it was also very public. Like everyone knew how they broke up. And that's kind of like high school, except, or it's like Hollywood, you know, all of the celebrities in Hollywood are the popular kids, where everyone kind of knows like what their business is without them wanting to share it.
And as a celebrity, I was going to say, just as a celebrity, you also have to have your guard up if you're going to be dating someone that's not a celebrity or that is a celebrity, just because they could be using you for money, for fame, or if it's somebody famous, they could be using you for money or fame again. I mean, it's just, and so you always have this need to figure out what their real motives are, and then you always
Pleasing your fans, and like,
it's so much more difficult to have a relationship. I mean,
and being a role model and all of those things. What do you guys think about different ways of dealing with it? So we saw like Sandra Bullock stayed quiet and she didn't come out and make a statement or say anything. If you were in one of these situations, do you feel like you would be obliged to make a public statement, or do you think that it would be better to just kind of hope that it goes away?
I mean, I know personally, obviously, like, my dating life's not out there, but, like, personally, when I'm dating someone, I keep it a secret, and my close friends know, but I don't go, like, posting Instagram pictures or whatever, just because I want that relationship to be between me and that person. And so I feel like I kind of relate more to the Sandra Bullock, where I'm sure her like close friends and family know the actual story of what happened, but for the most part, she wanted to keep that to herself because it's not the right of her fans to know that part of her.
Right. It's difficult because I think in some situations, depending on how you're already famous, where you're at in your career, if you're a Kim Kardashian and you've already had so many public relationships, I say go for it because there's a point. What's to lose now? You know, tell everybody who you're dating. You're Kim Kardashian. People are going to know what you're doing regardless.
She can't even keep that a secret,
right?
though.
So I'm saying, right, but
When your life is reality TV, it's your life.
Like
Yeah, but-
Selena and Justin, there's no way that they could keep it a secret because they have paparazzi following them every single place that they go. If they go to the same location, it's going to make news, regardless of whether they just caught up to be friends
But you don't
or
have
whatever.
to say anything, though.
And they don't say anything.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. You can either not say anything and just you're going to be followed regardless, or you can say something. Which I just think at that point, if you're already so famous, there's no choice.
You have to justify
just do
it. Then something is not right.
But it's also about how your career is, and if you're an actress and you're just it's so relevant based on it's so subjective based on where you are at in your career.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. For me, I wouldn't say anything, but that's just me. But I'm boring anyway. It's not about me.
Gosh, nothing boring about it.
I think it's also if you feel like you have to prove something, like if you do get negative backlash and that's not what happened, like perhaps, I don't know what situation there would be, but like if you got negative backlash, like with
like if you felt like
Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphries, there were rumors that he cheated on her, and maybe that's why she wanted to speak out and say, well, that's why our relationship ended so fast, or whatever it was. So I think it is situational.
Totally. So.
Oh yeah, I felt like people were accusing me of something that I didn't do.
Yeah, like, oh, you're so stupid for breaking up after that short amount of time, when something actually happened that was legitimate, like a legitimate reason for the breakup.
But then again, you don't need to explain yourself to anybody else, but I think I might feel the need to, even though it's not. You're not obliged. You're not obligated to. I think that if people were accusing me of something that I didn't do, and I had platforms on social media or whatever, I think that I would use them.
You really have to think about the person too in terms of how famous do they want to be, because there are so many people I could name so many right now that are famous. You know who they are, but you're not really Googling them every day, but they're famous enough, but they're not talking about getting married or whatever they've done until maybe you hear about it from somebody who maybe heard about it from somebody else, but it's not like something that they put it out there. They wanted to call In Touch and have In Touch put it on their cover. So
yeah, those are completely different things.
It's so different.
Ali Fedotowsky even mentioned, she's like, oh yeah, I got like X amount of dollars offered to me to tell my side of the breakup story. And that's, props to her for not doing it, because I know so many people who would have taken that money and have taken money in situations like that. So
that's why she has a great career now, and it's going to be a long-lasting career. It's not 15 minutes of fame. She's actually doing really, really well. So that obviously that decision actually made her more money in the long run. So, so I guess, do you guys have anything else you wanted to mention about that?
No, let's move on to Zoe.
Okay, so you guys actually saw. So I love Zoe from Center Stage. Obviously, that was one of my favorite. Is one of my favorite movies, and I remember years ago seeing her and thinking, this girl is just like, I couldn't believe she was actually an actress that they found that could dance so well, that just was incredible.
Stunning and so well-spoken, so incredibly smart, independent, like the list goes on. I remember she was on Conversations with Maria a year and a half ago, maybe, and
which is our Maria Menounos'
long form podcast,
where she does hour-long interviews in depth, and Zoe was unbelievable on it.
Our executive producer Phil and I had the opportunity to like meet her very briefly and sit in on that interview, and she's so powerful. And like when she said that she was insecure, I was like, are you kidding me? Because you are the most confident person that I think that I've been in a room with.
Yeah, not only that, but I think that as a human being, I don't know her, she seems amazing, but as an actress, she's unbelievably talented. I saw her in Center Stage. I saw her in Avatar. I saw her in Star Trek. I saw her in Guardians of the Galaxy. I've followed her work forever. I love what she does and what she brings to the table. I think she is gifted, just truly gifted. And I love that she loves using her body, and that it's like an art form for her, and it's a craft. She is so, so cool. And, the fact that she is this awesome, I don't think that an interview would be such an untold story or would be so exciting to watch, but she's so amazing, and Maria respects her and loves her so much, and they're such good friends.
They lit up.
Yeah, this is such a cool interview because they're both like smiling and looking at each other, and they see each other for who they are, and they're friends, and it's like two people talking about amazing careers. It was my favorite part of the episode, watching the two of them interact. I think it's amazing.
I think they're a lot alike too. It's funny.
Yeah.
They're both. I think they see a lot of one another in each other because they both are hardworking. They're both very independent women. I mean, they both really, they made their careers all on their own, and just it is really cool to see that two friends gravitate like that in this industry, and it's. I love Zoe. I've always loved her. I think she's incredible.
If you haven't listened to that Conversations with Maria episode and you are a fan of Zoe or just actresses in general, definitely download it. It was there's one part that I remember from the interview where Maria and Zoe connected, and they were actually talking about they were worried that they weren't going to become mothers and like freezing their eggs.
Right.
And it's weird to think that happened a year and a half ago, Zoe thinking that she would never become a mother, and now she's pregnant.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's documented forever. It's so cool.
It is.
You know what kind of bums me out, though?
What?
And it was mentioned briefly on tonight's episode, but this whole Nina Simone thing. So what's going on with that is that people were upset with the casting of Nina Simone because they didn't think that she was dark enough.
Yeah.
But what they didn't touch upon here, and what we found out the other day, because of one of our AfterBuzz hosts, Courtney Stewart, who's amazing, and she was talking to us about how people were actually really upset because apparently Zoe, the casting directors or whoever it was, put her kind of in blackface for the audition, and they actually made her skin darker for it, which I wanted to get your guys' opinion on that because they didn't really discuss it in tonight's episode, and I know that we try to bring our own untold stories to the after show. So do you guys think that this was good casting? Do you understand why people are upset? And does that make it more justifiable that people are upset because they did the blackface?
I think that it definitely makes it more justifiable that people are upset. And I kind of go back and forth between, thinking that that's okay because there are so many actresses and actors out there who they change their appearance significantly for a role.
Robert
like
Downey Jr.
Prosthetics.
Yeah.
I mean, Charlize Theron in Monster.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many changes that actors do to just tell a story. That's ultimately what their job is at the end of the day. And so part of me is like, okay, yes, it's okay to change her appearance. And then I think that I also waver because of the historical, significance of, blackface. And obviously, if that's what they're relating it to, then that's not okay.
Of course.
I don't think that that's what they intended to do. I don't think that it was intended to be controversial. I
didn't even think they thought anybody would find out. You know what I mean?
No, it's very apparent that she's much darker in the film.
No, absolutely. But with lighting and whatever, I just think that they probably were trying to make her look more like a character. The way that people put on noses, ears, whatever it is.
I think they did change her nose as well to make her look more like...
Yeah, I think that they weren't hiding it. If anything, I think that it just seemed like they didn't think there was anything wrong with it because like you said, Cathy, that they were, with Charlize Theron or anybody when they change their appearance for a movie. But I think the difference is when it's something as sensitive as this, it's just something that it's off limits.
And they wanted to get the best actress for the job, and I think that that's where I commend them, as opposed to finding the person that looks most like her, who might not be able to play the role as well and do as much justice for the role. They picked the best actress for this role, and they made her look more like...
I agree with that, but you think about something very similar just happened with the Aaliyah casting, and you have to ask yourself, or even right now, as they're trying to look for a director for Wonder Woman, and they're looking for women directors, people are saying, well, why don't you just find the best person for the job? And it's like, well, who's to say a woman isn't the best person for the job? And the same thing for this. I agree, she is one of the best people for the job, but do I think that there's not a person out there with darker skin that could be as good? Maybe. Maybe there is. I don't know. I can't think of somebody off the top of my head that is as talented as Zoe, no matter what the race. I just think she is it. Yeah. She is everything.
I just think she would have been able to embrace the character regardless of her skin. I just think we wouldn't think about it as we're watching her because she just transforms herself every single time internally. Right, but it's just interesting because when you see an actress just do the best job that they can, as someone like Zoe, it's just you just forget that stuff wouldn't even be in your mind as you're watching.
What she said is she's like, it shouldn't be about light skin and dark skin. Like, it should just be about I'm portraying this role.
Yeah, and it's also just so unfair to her because what did she do wrong?
Yeah.
She got cast. Like I know that she's getting hate mail about it from people, and I'm sure her fans are also coming and sticking up for her. But it's like, what on earth are people mad at Zoe for? Baffling.
It's such a sensitive subject, and I feel like so many people it's one of those things that you're just opening the door to so many opinions,
right,
good and bad, and she knew going into it. You have to know. I mean, especially with the team that she has around her, she's not just making a decision saying, sure, I'll do this. There are so many people that are around someone like Zoe that are helping her make every decision in her career.
Absolutely. But also, to play devil's advocate, I mean, anybody who's watching this right now, we're 3 white girls sitting around this table talking about this. Would I feel differently if I was different? I don't know. Maybe. Which is what I really have been liking about this show. These issues, even the first issue, the Honey Boo Boo, the breakups, everything, it's controversial.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about these things. So a lot of times they get brushed under the rug because people don't want to, they want to be PC. They don't want to say the wrong thing. So, all we can do is bring our backgrounds and try to come up with our own opinions.
Well, I think Maria even posed a question to Zoe on the show about, well, since you are part of that community, and she's like, what community am I a part of? I'm a part of America. It shouldn't matter your race.
Which I thought was also really cool because I know that Maria has some say in what airs, and the fact that she didn't shy away from the fact that she asked that question and Zoe kind of shut it down.
Yeah.
And they aired it, which is it's important. It's informative.
I think we're getting to the point where Hollywood is seeing less of color, and I mean that's apparent in some of the movies that are being produced now or coming out now, like Annie. Like that's a traditionally white character with red hair, and it's not like, and that's amazing. And I mean,
Brandy played Cinderella.
Yeah,
Brandy played, and that was like 10 years ago, maybe longer. But
I mean, there's so many shows like The Flash. Candace Patton's character,
Iris West,
usually played
by a white man.
Yeah. And then what was the last one? Oh, Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy could have easily been a white girl, and it wasn't. Like they didn't see race when it came to casting. I mean, regardless, she is in like green makeup the entire time, but
Absolutely. I agree. And I do think that things are changing, and that's why I think that this show has been so cool that we get to talk about these things as they're moving and in almost real time. Like I said, I can't believe the turnaround period.
Yeah. I know, because I was literally just watching it yesterday. I couldn't believe because the Honey Boo Boo thing is still now happening. It really is. Well, that means that they're pulling all-nighters, but that's it makes the show much more intense than if we had to watch this a month later where all this stuff happened, but we kind of forgot about it. We're kind of in the moment right now with it.
Also, shout out to Kat Sadler, who I thought did a really great job.
I think she's amazing.
Talk about a really, really sensitive issue. Tough subject, and sitting there. I just felt like she didn't push her own opinion and feelings on it, but she made her feel comfortable and had Anna open up. I thought she did a really great job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it was cool watching Kat and Maria.
Yeah.
Kind of interview on it. Well, Maria was more interviewing Kat, but
we know because we work at AFTERBUZZ that Maria is a fan of women. She's always like looking to help out other women's careers, and the fact that she on her show aired an interview with another amazing female host.
Well, Kat does a lot too. I interviewed Kat and her mother about a month ago, and they do so much for women. They have a foundation called Women Like Us, and it's just so the two of them combined are a force.
Right.
And there's so much power, and obviously we know Maria is.
It's really cool that they support each other.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I thought it was a great episode. I think they've been getting better and better, more intense each every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean
every 2 weeks,
3 weeks.
We finally get to hear about and see pictures from like the producers meetings and stuff like that. They're like, we're getting the ball rolling, we're doing more episodes, we're coming up with topics, and
honestly, I know what is it at Maria Menounos Untold on Twitter, because they read all of them, and if you guys have ideas, send them along.
Yeah, absolutely. I like how every episode too is different. It's
a
different background.
Untold.
I love what comes up first.
Oh, I don't
Maria
know.
Menounos, his butt. Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Or even just at Maria
nice
Menounos, but I don't know. It's Untold something.
It's on Instagram.
Untold.
Just
Yeah.
search Untold. It will come right up. But yeah, they answer all of us.
Yeah.
And they always tweet us. So yeah, it was really. I wanted to say though, I'd really like seeing how every week it's a different background. Like she was at the comedy store, and like this
Yeah.
time she's in front of a teleprompter, and just.
And it's cool. I love
Untold with Maria is the
Untold with Maria.
yes.
Untold W.
We would have never thought of that.
Oh, no,
Untold with Maria, spelled out at Untold with Maria.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's cool. And also, Maria is iconic for her fashion, her hair, her makeup, and so it's awesome to see her hair up and the braid and.
Then on point, Dimitri.
Yes, you go, Dimitri.
All right, so I love this episode. If you guys have anything that you want to let us know about tonight's episode
Or chime in with your
any
thoughts,
other
too.
episodes, let
What's
us
your
know what you
Untold
thought
story?
about all of these different situations tonight, because I'm sure we'll get a lot of different reactions. But where can we find you guys?
You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar.
You can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley and on Instagram at Cathy Kelley.
Cool, and you can find me on Instagram at Miss Ashley Daniels and Twitter at Ashley Daniels. We'll see you next time. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.